As one of Kessoku band's top songs, Guitar, Loneliness, and Blue Planet packs 3 minutes and 49 seconds of angsty energy and painfully relatable lyrics that have captured millions since its release. Written by the legend Zack, with composition by Otoha and arrangement by Akin, the song has stood the test of time and earned its place as one of Kessoku band's core singles. So let's break it down starting from the top. We are greeted by a lead guitar squeal. Bocchi's distorted, ringing note hints at the song's themes, which we'll dive into later. As she rings it out, Nijika cues the classic open hi-hat count in, signaling to the band and us listeners that we are about to experience utter peak! The main intro hits in full force, and the first thing I loved was the wide panning of Kita and Bocchi's guitars. Bocchi lays on a riff that sticks with you, using familiar legato techniques, while Kita supports it with grounded rhythmic bar chord strumming. Guitars aside, the rhythm section holds its own. The drums drive an aggressive groove with snappy, syncopated snares, while the bass locks in a solid 8-note groove.
Fun fact, this is the first song I learned on Betsy, my good old bass. And I kinda hate myself for it because 193 BPM, that's blistering. And I remember struggling just to keep up and stay in tempo.
Anyways, moving on from Slowpoke's complaints, the intro ends with a choreographed pause where the rhythm section drops out, leaving the guitars to lock in together. Bocchi fires off a line reminiscent of the Freebird solo or even Through the Fire and Flames, while Kit adds a bit of funk underneath by laying down the chords. And I have to shout out Nijika's extremely subtle hi-hat keeping the tempo here. You'll only catch it at high quality or with good headphones. Nijika, I see you channeling a bit of Chad Smith, eh? We enter the verse, and as the band's canonically first song, this is our first real taste of Ikkyo Ikkyo, Kita Kita showing off her vocal prowess. And I have to say, we're used to her being bubbly and sweet, but when she sings, she's dead serious and intense. She's got that range, fellas! For the first half, the guitarists stay silent, leaving Ryo and Nijika to rock hard. And they really do. Nijika drives an intense 8-note groove on floor tom and kick, while Ryo tests beginner's endurance by holding a single note far too long.
And now, since I'm a masochist, I will demonstrate this part rusty and without any warm-up. You better subscribe for my suffering. Alright, here we go. Oh god!
Right before the second half, a sudden pause hits as Nijika barks the hi-hat, cueing the guitarist to jump in. Bocchi leads with licks sprinkled with ghost notes, while Kita palm mutes power chords. During this part, Nijika switches up the groove by moving to offbeat open hi-hats with a sloshy feel, instantly adding an unexpected disco vibe, punctuated by sharp rim shots.
Honestly, her playing is intense throughout the entire song, and it fits perfectly. I can't imagine this track being this beloved with any other drum approach.
So Nijika, you deserve a bag of Doritos! Then a transition fill occurs, pausing the rhythm section and letting Kita and the guitars take center stage first. As she sings, the guitars trade complementary subdivisions of broken chords. Bocchi soars with fast lines, while Kita slowly arpeggiates open unconventional chords. Ryo jumps back with a bass lick, returning to the familiar 8-note groove, while Nijika goes back to hamming the floor tom and kick drum. And in this second half, we finally hear the once and always majestic vocal backings by Mizuru Saku! Where's the wonderful flashback? Perfectly harmonizing with Ikumi's lead vocals. One notable part I enjoyed with Ikumi singing on this section is this part. Man, she has phenomenal raspy vocal control. The pre-chorus closes with a large crescendo, spotlighted by the drum's accented snare rolls, adding a tom in a final fill, and the entire band pausing.
And now, the most exciting part.
The sweet release and intense chorus!
It kicks off with a genius move. Just a kick drum and Kita saying,
But listen closely. The drum hits line up perfectly with each syllable. I don't know about you, but that level of detail is amazing.
The main chorus crashes in with full force. Nirika locks into a wide, intense, open hi-hat straightforward rock beat, with rim shots cranking up the aggression and accented rolling snare fills echoing the pre-chorus. Kita delivers a repetitive scream-like vocal line, like she's beating the crap out of your ears. Bocchi rips through aggressive octave chords, while Kita pounds out bar chords in classic hard rock style. Ryo, like earlier, lays down a straightforward 8-note groove. Then comes Kita's sudden 16th note syncopated vocal melody, speeding up on words like plus, I gotta highlight this cool feel Ryo throws in. She's also screaming the words whenever she adds extra depth to the vocals. And man, this high note! Ikumi belts it fearlessly while staying perfectly controlled. The chorus now reaches its climactic point. Nirika goes ham on the snare bar, playing it at every beat, and the kick drum going offbeat. Ryo then slides to emphasize the one chord in a high octave, leading into the final line. I love the emotion Kita puts in. Nirika builds with floor tom and snare. The band hits syncopated unison pauses, with Ryo doing octaves. And then Kita delivers the last two words.
But wait, there's more. A Redditor pointed out a very neat detail in episode 5's audition scene.
Right as the chorus hits and Bocchi goes full guitar hero mode, the lyrics talk about no one hearing her or even knowing she exists, despite screaming and singing her heart out, perfectly fitting our lovable pink creature.
In its entirety, the song dives into isolation, social anxiety, and the desperate need to be seen and heard, which I hope a lot of us can relate to. Comment below, Bocchi is so made for real if you do.
It traces Bocchi's journey from total isolation, where every day blurs together, to discovering the guitar as her sole outlet and escape. Again, written brilliantly by Zach, the lyrics capture her internal struggle, wanting to speak up, panicking when the moment comes, and feeling inadequate next to people who seem effortlessly confident. In the end, the song becomes a declaration, music as her way of announcing her existence, transforming from someone invisible into someone ready to scream at the world to notice her. And here's a fun detail someone pointed out in the music video's comments. Despite the song framing the guitar as her voice, the word guitar never actually appears in the lyrics. Bocchi probably realized this after finishing them and had no choice but to slap it on the title. Thank goodness. Loneliness on Blue Planet alone just feels wrong. Back to the song. After the chorus, the interlude plays, which is basically the intro repeated. Though it closes differently, with Bocchi suddenly going with a fast scale and ending with the high bent note that is close to a squeal. And it pauses. Ikumi breathes in. And we're back in action. This time, the whole band grooves right from the start. Bocchi on prolonged broken chords, while Kita, like before, palm mutes power chords. This continues alongside Kita's vocals until the second half, echoing verse 1. But now Bocchi adds palm mutes. Ryo throws in new licks, and Kita spices things up with a syncopated strumming groove. And Nirika repeats the same beats for both parts of this section. Then Ryo cues us to the second pre-chorus by playing an octave right at the end and sliding back down as the band pauses. The first half is similar to the first pre-chorus, but the second half brings a variation. Nirika cues with a drag on the right cymbal, hitting the bell on the last note, while Ryo responds with a new lick, even throwing in some chromatic phrasing. This pattern continues, building the same energy into the second chorus. But suddenly, during the pause and kicks, Bocchi goes with a mighty squeal, which, man, is just awesome. The second chorus swings just like the first, but with a cool chord switch in the progression while the snare rolls on the drums. The lyrics variate. The energy remains throughout until we finally reach the guitar solo!
Man, this is pre-board at home, isn't it?
As the guitar solos it out with fast scale ones, high bends and vibratos, and certain repetitions of a few notes, admittedly it does get a bit spammy.
The rest of the instruments maintain the same energy as the intro. since it's practically identical.
And it closes with a high vibrato note before Bocchi slides down to playing broken chords as we head over to the bridge. Like the pre-chorus, the first half features just vocals and guitars, Bocchi on broken chords, Kita on similar open chords. However, she cues in the second half with a harmonic. And I've got a shout out Vio's backing on, which adds so much weight to the phrase. The crash cymbals hit, and the second half swings full momentum. Vio plays a bass line that complements the vocals. While Nirika grooves with a 16th note syncopated beat packed with those ghost notes. If bass has slap, then for me, the drum equivalent is definitely those funky ghost notes. This section ends on a beautiful elongated with arranger Akin even adding a delay to the scream. The band pauses one last time, but Bocchi's guitar rings out, symbolizing her lifelong desire to be heard. Ikumi tells the audience to listen. No, she needs a stronger word. Screaming it in a sudden high key, and bam, we're in that high key. As one writer noted, the shift cranks up the angst, making the final blast as intense as it can be, while Vio adds a new lick, repeatedly sliding to emphasize a high note. Bocchi and Kita hit the same chorus, but of course, just higher. Ikumi's vocals really peaked here, belting out that long scream.
Even today, just her voice gives me goosebumps.
Oh, thank the heavens above that she's the voice behind our Filipina shrimp!
As the final lines are sung out, we transition to the outro of the song, similar to the intro, but higher. But if you notice, this song leans into intense simplicity. It's obviously a nightmare for beginners because of the fast tempo. Yet the fact that Kita, a beginner who once mistook a 6-string bass for a guitar, can play the rhythm parts while singing her heart out is both outrageous and amazing.
But for more experienced musicians, it's fairly simple, with many parts repeating in subtle variations. However, that simplicity feels intentional, designed to put Bocchi's lyrics front and center. This is one of the quintessential Hitori Goto singles after all.
The real genius lies in the subtle dynamics of each instrument and Kita's vocals, creating a powerful atmosphere that perfectly matches the gut-wrenching lyrics. Going back, the second half starts to deviate, closing out with a bang. Bocchi riffs into licks, freeboard solo style, with high bends, fast scales, and tremolo picking, a staple of our playing. As she nears the end, Nirika goes ham on the snares, building to a massive crash. Then she and Vio pause. The two guitars are left playing in unison, reminiscing the intro. Kita plays a powerful power chord, while Bocchi phrases along. Bocchi's last 3 notes land in perfect sync with Nirika on floor tom and snare. A final crash from all instruments lets everything ring out, fading until only Bocchi's guitar squeal, circling back to the intro. And that's the genius of Guitar Loneliness and Blue Planet. If you enjoyed this breakdown, then you should watch this next. Or if you want a deeper dive into the characters of Bocchi the Rock, then this video might be a cup of tea. Shout out to the channel members for their endless support and to you the viewer for watching this video till the end. Okay, off I go!